Hello and welcome to the AL trade deadline breakdown. If you've enjoyed your time on Carr Sports, please consider liking and subscribing. Hit that notification button so you get notified whenever a new episode is posted on the channel. And without further ado, let's begin our reactions. The Red Sox, one of the worst teams in baseball, a train wreck flaming out, their manager fired, one of the biggest disappointments in all of Major League Baseball, a team that couldn't hit a baseball with a tennis racket, a pitching staff on crutches, the Roman Empire collapsing. This team looked like an absolute disaster as the team continued to fall apart into the season.
But wait! There's more!
Here I come to save the day!
And here comes a 15-game win streak. All of a sudden, that terrible team that made me look like an idiot early on in the year. At number 4, I have the team that I like the most. They're going to be a top 5 team and everything, and that's who I have at number 4, the Boston Red Sox. I think this Red Sox is a 5-tool team. I think they can do everything, and I think they legitimately can be a World Series contender. Is now all the way back. This team now looking to be buyers at the deadline moves one of their young aces for Curtis Mead, who instantly gets hurt in his first game as a Red Sox. Well, you swung and missed at that trade. Hopefully you don't do anything more catastrophic.
Holy shit.
You gave up your entire farm system to a division rival for a year and a half of Adley Rutschman. We're not going to have a season next year. You're getting half a year of Adley Rutschman for your entire farm system. There's no way this is real. God, this team is so annoying. O's fans were mad for about 5 seconds after finding out they robbed Boston blind. You just robbed them blind of everybody! If Adley doesn't hit, they're going to have a second tea party by throwing management into the harbor. The Adley Rutschman era is officially over. Heading back to Boston. 3 games under 500, the team decided to blow up the face of the organization. Orioles have officially shown that Samuel Bazayo is their catcher of the future, all after a grand total of 0 playoff victories in the Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, and the White Boy Summer era. Most pieces that the Orioles added, like Dean Kramer, who had been horrible, is shipped off to the Twins for next to nothing. Taylor Ward traded to the Mariners, who is having a weird season, 37 homers last year to 6 this year, and now all of a sudden is an on-base guy, signals a new restart for the GM Mike Elias. Wait, why is Trevor Rogers still here? Ah yes, the Tampa Bay Rays. The Tampa Bay Rays, a team known for having absolutely nothing and still winning because absolutely nothing is perfect for them. They went out and made 3 trades this deadline, adding Liam Hicks at catcher, a 27-year-old one at that it was a late bloomer for the Marlins. Marlins decided to move off their catcher. Interested to see why they did not value their late blooming catcher when a team like the Rays would. You would think whenever the Rays call for your controllable asset, you'd want to tell them no. Another trade they moved to bolster the rotation because a guy like Freddie Peralta, who's been struggling with the Mets, is a perfect fit for the Tampa Bay Rays. Just ignore his first start with them in Coors Field. We'll write that off to the Coors effect. They also acquired Jack Suwinski from the Dodgers by trading away big league catcher Hunter Fiducia. Is that slugged high in the air? Fiducia! Could it be? Could it be? Gone, Hunter Fiducia! Tie game! Who was no longer needed with the addition of Liam Hicks. The Tampa Bay Rays are going to be fine. This is kind of what they do every single year. Nice bullpen add to Tyler Wells as well. And this team's going to keep winning with next to nothing because that's what this Tampa Bay Rays team does. The Yankees post-deadline are just odd. They had Luis Garcia for all of their minor league bullpen depth, a first baseman who profiles best as a DH, who will have to play second when Giancarlo Stanton gets healthy, which will then move Jazz to third, creating 2 negative infield defenders. Their answer to Anthony Volpe being bad was to call up the next shortstop prospect in George Lombard Jr. They needed a right-handed bat, preferably a catcher, with the fact that Austin Wells has been one of the worst hitting catchers in baseball this year, so they added a right-handed bat. It's also just a right fielder.
And Collison drives in. Where the fuck are you going? Wow!
who's now going to be a super utility platoon bat with Cody Bellinger. They also failed to address any bullpen needs, and Yankees fans are rightfully angry at Brian Cashman, who looks to just be completely clueless. Another deadline goes where the Yankees add fun names and faces to a team that makes legit no sense. Oh, how Toronto has fallen. After just being a secondary lead shy of winning the World Series, thanks Isaiah Kiner-Falefa for not learning how to take a lead. They have had a season that has been a straight-up disaster. A lot of injuries to key pieces, and then Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hasn't homered all year at the Rogers Center. At the deadline, they were forced to move off of longtime ace Kevin Gausman, sending him to the Cubs for a pair of prospects who may never hit a major league home run in their careers. I say that not because they might not make it, but because MLB Pipeline grades them 25 power a pop, and Brett Bateman and Ty South Sinise. For next to nothing, you got Josh H. Smith from the Rangers, who I guess is a cool depth piece that can play every single position. You also were able to get off Jeff Hoffman's contract, so that's nice. The real prize from your deadline was Jose Soriano from the Angels. You gave up a former top international signee in Arjun Nimala, a young shortstop who has all the tools possible to be the Angels' next face of their franchise. So legitimate futures to create what is now going to be a three-man rotation of Dylan Cease, Jose Soriano, and Trey Savage. Also adding in Spencer Arrighetti when you traded Dalton Varsho to Houston. So the pitching futures for the Toronto Blue Jays look very nice. We'll have to see what the bats can do, as a lot of the bats are older pieces and a flat Vladdy that's completely World Series hungover. What are the Minnesota Twins doing? The Minnesota Twins have been hovering around 500 the entire year with key bats that they could trade, along with a star pitcher in Joe Ryan. Byron Buxton is now hurt, and you're buying? I get the AL is terrible, but why are we buying? I get that you're not buying anything meaningful, but why are you giving up prospects for Jeff Hoffman's awful contract? Why are you trading for AJ Minter, who looks to be one of the better lefties dealt at this deadline? And then why did you give anything up for Dean Kramer? Dean Kramer was going to get DFA'd. Why'd you pick him up? This deadline just makes no sense. They should be selling, and instead they're going the complete opposite direction and buying? Does this Twins thing think they can legit win the World Series? I don't even think they can beat one playoff team currently in there. Just a strange deadline from the Minnesota Twins, who are so desperate to try and win a playoff game that they rather buy little pieces than sell off what could get them great value. Sounds like a Minnesota masterclass yet again. Oh, hey Chicago, I forgot you existed. What do you mean you're good again? You went from being one of the worst teams in baseball to now your young core, led by Colson Montgomery, Murataka Murakami, and some of these young pitchers are now making yourself buyers? Sure, trade for Luis Castillo if you think him and his awful contract right now will do you good. In worst case scenario, he's just a veteran pitcher to help out with your younger arms coming back. And you're telling me all it cost was a Sir Anthony Dominguez, a Nolan Jones, and a catcher prospect in Boston Smith? That's all it cost to get a horrible contract? Hazuko Brazabon's a nice bullpen piece if you think he's going to do anything for you. The good news is they did not sacrifice any of their long-term pieces to add a right-now piece. This White Sox team is playing with house money. Glad you're hanging out, man. I'm glad that you're actually having success. It's about time the White Sox had something good happen to them. It had to be done, as the Detroit Tigers were forced to move off of Tariq Skubal, who will go to the Dodgers for a... what is this haul? Zaire Hope? River Ryan? Brady Smith? What is this package return? I get Zaire Hope's pretty good. Why are you getting a 27-year-old coming off Tommy John with almost 5 ERA at AAA? Why is that your number 2 piece? No disrespect to Brady Smith as well, but how could you not get more than that? Hell, the Orioles got more for Adley Rutschman. They also decided to move off of Casey Mize, which I mean, okay, good for you. You kind of were forced to do that after the Skubal trade. You went ahead and got Cash Mayfield, who's a former first-round pick from the Padres, back. But why didn't you trade Glaber? Why didn't you trade any of your rental bats? Glaber Torres shouldn't be on this team anymore, along with some of these relievers. I guess they think that they can sell off Skubal and they can go on a run like when they traded Flaherty. I mean, I guess. I don't agree with it, but I mean, I guess. Tigers will enter a limbo mode this offseason. if we even have an offseason, where they have a nice young core of players, but they're just no top echelon stars yet. Maybe Max Clark and Dylan Dingler become superstars like that, but they'll also have to look at possibly trading Kerry Carpenter and Riley Green in this offseason if they do not plan to extend them. More issues to deal with later on for the Motor City Kitties. You mean to tell me the Cleveland Guardians, a team that would literally rather cut off their own hand than trade significant pieces, traded for significant pieces? They added Foster Griffin, who's having one hell of a bounce back after coming back from Japan with the Nationals. They traded for Joe Adell and then Nathaniel Lowe as actual power bats into this lineup? You're telling me this offense might not be the worst thing to watch on planet Earth? You're telling me you got actual pieces around J-Ram for once? Are we serious? Is Cleveland going to have an offense that isn't in the bottom 5 percentile in baseball? Is that what we're looking at? Is Cleveland finally going to help out their pitchers? There's no reason why Tanner Bybee should have had 8 losses about 2 months into the year with a 3.8 ERA. That was ridiculous. They're finally supporting Parker Messick and all their other great pitchers with an actual offense. It's about time. Congrats, Cleveland. Happy for you, but it's about time. The Royals coming into the year had plenty of high hopes, and those high hopes have been completely destroyed by how bad their record has been on the year. Currently being a last place team in their division, they had no choice but to make trades that I don't think they wanted to do, but they were forced to. They traded off Lane Thomas and Bailey Falter to the Braves for little returns, and then they traded Chris Bubich, who they probably should have traded last year, to the Dodgers because the Dodgers apparently felt like they wanted another pitcher. So Kansas City gets rid of a couple rentals for a disappointing team and is now deciding to run back this exact same core of a disappointed team. There's only one way to sum up that decision.
Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity?
Welcome to the division that nobody wants to win. This is going to be a shorter, condensed wrap-up of all the rest of these teams. Halfly, because these teams did nothing, and secondly, my voice is about to give out if you cannot tell by what the last recording was, because I recorded these on different days while I finished stuff because I wasn't feeling well the next day, and now my voice slowly is starting to come back, so I'm back to recording. So anyways, on to the AL West and to end this episode. The Astros had a fairly quiet deadline. Their only real move was to bring in Dalton Varsho for Spencer Arrighetti. The Astros outfield was levels of disappointing, running out Taylor Trammell, Cam Smith, and insert random name here into the third outfield spot. Getting Dalton Varsho, who is a legit defensive star in center field and not just a plus bat from the left-handed side, will hopefully lengthen this lineup significantly. I'm still not entirely sure if I love what this Astros roster has built. I don't think this team is a legit, A-tier contender. I don't even think they're really a B-tier. I think they're just a filler playoff team. But Dalton Varsho gives them a better chance than whatever the JV baseball outfield they were running out there every single night. They've finally done it. Angels fans are free. Congratulations, Angels fans. They have finally sold for the first time in about 7 years. The fact that being a decently ran organization is a cause for celebration in Anaheim tells you the hell that these fans have to go through year after year after year. The Angels were very busy sending out Kirby Yates to the Pirates, Brent Suter to the Braves, getting back a former top prospect in Nacho Alvarez, really like that deal, sending Joe Adell to Cleveland, getting Moises Ballesteros from the Cubs for just a reliever. Moises was once supposed to be a top piece in that Cubs offense. Sure, in a way, Jose Soriano sucks, but he was having a breakout year, and he hadn't been exactly the same guy since early on in the year, so you had to kind of capitalize on his value while you still could. I really like the return in Arjun Namala being the big piece, and what's even better is you were able to get the Rangers to take Logan O'Hoppy's useless ass. The A's did absolutely nothing, but instead of being mad at them for doing absolutely nothing, I want to kind of applaud them for doing absolutely nothing. The Athletics could have easily traded Tyler Soderstrom. They could have traded Shea Langoliers, although him being out for the season would have made that more difficult, but with the years of control, I still think somebody would have bought for him. Sure, you can be mad they didn't get rid of Jeff McNeil, but at the end of the day, it's Jeff McNeil, and he's kind of just a guy sitting there blocking prospects, so I'm not entirely mad about Jeff McNeil still being here. They made a couple trades like acquiring Scott Blewett for cash considerations and then Seth Johnson for Colby Thomas. So a care of nothing burger trades. The only thing I hope for the A's moving forward is that their young core stays healthy and we have no more testicles explode on the field. Rangers are in trouble. This entire deadline circled around them wanting to move off their big contracts. And it looked like there was going to be a big blockbuster trade with the Braves for Jacob deGrom, but deGrom was unwilling to waive his no-trade clause, and the deal didn't get finished. I believe the same thing happened with Nathan Eovaldi, as they most likely tried to trade him as well, and I expected he also blocked any trades with his no-trade clause. They were listening to offers for Mackenzie Gore, but evidently nothing was good enough for them to move off of him after a half a year being in Texas. Allegedly, they were also willing to move off Corey Seager, but apparently, nobody wants to touch an injury-riddled shortstop on the wrong side of 30 on a massive contract. Who would have thought? The only real trades they made was getting rid of Josh H. Smith, sending him to the Blue Jays for Adam Macko, who was a former top prospect of the Blue Jays, not so much this time, and acquiring Logan O'Hoppe from the Angels. Really, you got Chase Silseth, which is going to be a piece of your bullpen for a couple years, and you just got Logan O'Hoppe because the Angels wanted to dump him, and you immediately sent him to AAA. God, nobody wants Logan O'Hoppe. And in a division that nobody wants to win, the Seattle Mariners made trades that I don't think makes them show that they want to win this division either. They traded Luis Castillo for Boston Smith, Nolan Jones, and Sir Anthony Dominguez, which it's kind of hilarious that Nolan Jones has just been bouncing around organizations for years to go. They traded for Taylor Ward to be another power bat to this offense. Let's just ignore the fact he hasn't hit for power all year. And it's getting to the point with the Mariners that they're just pissing me off. They're now 8 games below 500, which funny enough only has them 4.5 games out of a playoff spot. God, the AL sucks. This entire division sucks. The leader is 2 games over 500. This has been ridiculous. Whoever wins this division is going to get walked down by whoever gets that first wild card. The Yankees or the Red Sox have an automatic qualifier to the ALDS.
And I bet he could play first. Yeah. Siri out in front of the curveball. Oh, I don't know if Langford sees it, but Carter did. Oh, wow. We were all deked.